Welcome back to the broadcast. This is NEWSLINE here on KTN News. We want to get into what has been happening in the National Super Alliance. Now, four opposition coalition affiliate parties are set to receive a total of 153 million shillings out of 489 million disbursed to Raila Odinga's Orange Democratic Movement, ODM. The sharing of the funds from 3 financial years is tabulated based on votes attributed to parliamentary seats by the 5 National Super Alliance partners, ODM, Wiper, Amani National Congress, Ford Kenya, and the Chama cha Mashinani. KTN senior political reporter Duncan Haimba has the latest for us.
After a protracted revenue cake fight that has seen 3 NASA affiliates declare quitting the union, ODM, which had been described as bullish, seems to have finally been cornered, twisted and beaten into submission and agreed to share the revenue cake. According to the sharing formula released by ODM, Kalonzo Musyoka's Wiper Party will receive a total of 70 million for the 3 financial years of 2017-2018, 2018-2019 and 2019-2020, while ANC of Musalia Mudavadi will receive 43.9 million. Moses Wetangula's Ford Kenya will receive 36 million, while Chama cha Mashinani CCM of ex-Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto will receive 3 million for the period. Of the total disbursed amount, ODM will retain 179.8 million, being money attributed to votes from gubernatorial and county assemblies. The 5 parties will then share 308 million, being shareable revenue based on their numerical strength in Parliament. Based on the numbers, ODM will take 187 million on top of the 179.8 million. In both the National Assembly and the Senate, ODM has 94 seats, accounting for 61% of the NASA strength in Parliament, while Wiper accounts for 18%, having 27 members. ANC has 17 members, representing 11% of the coalition's numbers in Parliament, while Ford Kenya has 14 members, representing 9%, and CCM 2 seats with 1%. Yeah. Under the suggested formula, ODM will take 188 million of the 308 million, leaving the balance to the 4 partner parties. Details of how 4 outfits will benefit from the political parties' funding is contained in a letter by Raila Odinga to his now estranged political partners. The decision to share the contested money was a climb down by the former premier, who has previously insisted that he did not owe his coalition partners even a cent. It is, however, perceived to be a last-minute attempt by ODM to woo back their partners, who have since resolved to sever links with him in the run-up to next year's polls over political mistrust.
When it comes to resource sharing of political parties, we should do it on the basis of trust.
The Political Parties Act of 2011 sets aside 0.3% of the national government revenue to finance activities of political parties. Duncan Haimba, KTN News.
Right, thank you, Duncan. That sets the pace for our discussion tonight. I am joined in studio by Lugari Member of Parliament Ayub Savula and his Saboti counterparts, Caleb Amisi, and also joining us all the way from the county of Mombasa shortly will be the Makueni Member of Parliament, Dan Maanzo. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me in studio. Mheshimiwa Amisi, let me start with you. Let's start with where Duncan Haimba left it for us. That is the latest issue that has been bedeviling the NASA, at least from what we've been hearing from some of the party leaders like Wiper's Kalonzo Musyoka, the issue of the sharing of the political party funds, which has brought a lot of issues, really, but we have seen your party, ODM, finally has it bowed to the pressure, or what has happened there? We had your party leader, Raila Odinga, once say that the rest of the parties don't deserve even a cent. What changed?
Yeah, first of all, Ben, I'm really perplexed that as NASA we are discussing about sharing of funds. I thought when we formed a coalition of NASA, we formed a coalition to form the government and not to, have little squabbles about monies from the national government, from Treasury, which of course is money that is supposed to go to political parties. But I am shocked that it's become our center of divorce or our center of disagreement. I thought we should be disagreeing on which position to take in the government, but not on which monies to take political parties' funds. It's really shocking to some of us who had great hopes in this NASA formation, that we've had, yes, siblings rivalries that are very normal in any family, but we never knew that will come a time when we are just going to quarrel over leftovers. These are just leftovers.
The smaller siblings have been saying that you, the bigger one, bullied them.
Bullying is normal. Even in school, you are bullied. It is part of learning, the way of life. You go to university as a mono, you are bullied, so that you are taught on how to live in university and also how to be a man. So being bullied is one way of also, teaching you life skills, that this life is not for the soft-hearted. This life is for the hardcore, for you must be strong. So even in political life, you can be bullied by your stronger opponents or your stronger brother.
Right.
But we cannot call it bully as such, because what ODM are getting is rightfully theirs. It's been the bigger political brother with enough members of parliament, with enough political cloud across the country. I think it's just fair that our other brothers swallowed the little pride and come together on the table, because we can argue, we can disagree as a family, but not at this particular time when you are facing war. As a family, yes, you disagree as siblings, you have siblings rivalry, but when you are faced with an enemy, you quickly come together and forget your little troubles in the family. Now we are faced with an enemy that we need to tackle as a family. We forget about these issues, we can solve them later. And we face the enemy together.
Mheshimiwa Savula, your party was the first to call it quits. What is your take on the issue of the political party funds?
Ben, thank you for inviting me here. First, we formed a NASA coalition with the hope of forming a government, which we didn't form. The coalition, NASA coalition, was formed on trust-based issues. We signed a document that was deposited with the register of political parties, indicating conditions and agreements that we are going to use to run the government. But since we didn't form the government, the coalition agreements that revolves around funding and trust should have stayed, because the issue of the divorce in NASA arose from two facts. One, the mistrust. Second, the issue of sharing the political parties' fund. Our senior brothers have been denying for the last 4 years that they have not received any coin, they will not release anything to us. Whereas in that document that we deposited with the register of political parties, there is a revenue sharing formula. Up to date, what I'm seeing is just stories in the media. As ANC, we have not received any letter from the party leader, Raila Odinga, because I've been communicating with my party leader, Musalia Mudavadi, this evening. We have not received, and we cannot talk about speculation. What we want is the sharing formula that is contained in the document that we deposited with the register of political parties. Going forward, we should form coalitions where each partner can be trusted. The issue of mistrust is what is causing this divorce in NASA coalition. And already, what you're looking at, if they give you the Azat Kasha, it will just be alimony, because we have already divorced. That's alimony.
Too little, too late,
Too
would you
little,
say?
too late, the way Kalonzo said. It's just alimony.
All right.
We are focused on moving forward with One Kenya Alliance.
There's a letter here, we'll get to that. There's a letter here, Honorable Amisi, the one that came from the ODM party leader, Raila Odinga, yesterday. Just let me read a small excerpt of this, saying that in consultation that have taken place among the leaders of our respective parties, consequent thereto, our party has deliberated internally and resolved that without prejudice, we share with our coalition partners ODM's share of monies from the political parties fund attributable to parliamentary votes for the financial year. He has given the financial year there. Honorable Amisi, if there was a document deposited with the Registrar of Political Parties with the formula for sharing revenues, why did it take so long, 3 years, for your party to decide this?
Yeah, first of all, as you know, Ben, we've had problems with these funds from the consolidated, funds.
Right.
We've had even court cases on how the 0.03% from the consolidated fund meant for political parties can be shared. You remember this matter has even come before Parliament. Members have debated on it. It's been a quagmire since, NASA was formed and since we were elected members of Parliament and the elections was done. We've had court cases around these funds.
Right,
so
right.
It's not that it has been pending for all this time. Now it's now that letters have been written to cover that issue. But I can tell there has been a lot of goodwill from my party that I belong to, ODM. And if ODM was to be mischievous, it could have started early, even during the sharing of positions in Parliament. We've had members of ANC occupying positions in Parliament. We have a Public Service Commission at the Senate level. We have the Wiper being the deputy to our minority leader. We have the Ford Kenya being the deputy to our minority whip. And the committees are being shared,
Right.
On that agreement basis. So I think there have been a lot of goodwill from ODM from the start. And that's why they have even accompanied with a letter to show that it's not that we've had money and we are not sharing. Here it is. And this is our agreement between our two principles. You heard the Prime Minister saying that we've had consultation with Stephen Kalonzo.
Right.
I'm not sure whether they have had the same with Davadi, but at least Stephen has confirmed that they've had consultations. And I think this is just enough goodwill, and unless ANC and other parties have other reasons
Yes.
to leave NASA, but the reasons cannot be the sharing of the funds.
From where you sit, Mheshimiwa Amisi, what do you think led to the crumbling of NASA, apart from the issue of the sharing of the political party funds?
Yeah, I think maybe NASA as a coalition is broke. When people have no money, you'll always score over even the little you can see. I'm not sure whether we are in Jubilee or they were in the government will be quarreling about these little things. I think because we are now facing an election, parties are also looking for resources to fund their activities. That's where we have this, pull and push on this small money from the consolidated fund. And it is just normal. When parties are looking for resources, they look for it from everywhere. But it cannot be a source of our disunity. It cannot be a source of break in NASA. It is something that can be solved when you see one party writing a letter. Clearly, it shows that they are ready to talk. If you can either disagree with the letter or agree, but at least they have shown a goodwill that they are ready, they are, giving an olive branch, they are ready to talk and resolve that issues. There are always issues around coalitions. It is not the first coalition that have had issues. In fact, NASA is the only coalition that have stood the test of time. For a coalition to stand together for 10 years, we had CORD and then now NASA. For 10 years in the CORD, in the opposition. It is really a mileage, and it has never happened in the coalitions of this country.
Honorable Savula, are you ready to talk? Or has that ship sailed?
As it stands now, ODM are acting in bad faith. We are not ready to talk unless they go by the sharing formula contained in the documents deposited at the register of political parties. This is not a matter of negotiating now. The negotiation was there before when we were putting pen on the paper on that document that was deposited with the register of political parties. That is called the marriage certificate. So you go by the conditions that are in that document. It is not the wish of ANC to discuss this matter further, because we just want to deal with the issue as it is contained in the document where my party leader signed, ODM leader signed, Wiper signed, and Chama. It's not an issue that ODM is enticing us. We are entitled to that. But now, since it's a divorce, that's why I'm terming it alimony. We'll go by that formula. But right if they refuse to go by that formula, we'll go to court.
Right now, the followers of NASA, like Ms. here says, also the followers of CORD before then, they are quite, disenfranchised. They don't know if they are if they are NC members. They don't know if they are in the coalition or not. Wiper Party as well. What do you tell your followers, Honorable Sabula?
Our followers, we are focused ahead. As in ANC, we changed our constitution. The Amani Council passed a resolution 2-3 weeks ago that our party leader shall be the automatic presidential candidate, and that's where we are focused, and we've given him mandate to negotiate with other like-minded parties to form a future coalition. We are not focused on NASA now. NASA is the past.
All right. When you hear that, Honorable Amisi, are you hopeful? And many people say that ODM stands to lose more because the other 3 or 4 are together and ODM is not. Do you agree?
I don't agree. ODM has been a force. It has been a movement for a long time in this country. It stands on principles and ideologies that have held it, politically standing for a long time. It has weathered all conditions, all political times. It has gone through difficult times. It has championed for causes, change of constitution, promulgation of the new constitution, reforms. It is a party that it stands on principles and ideologies that you can believe in. And it has constant and long historical support that has been that cannot be taken within, just like that. And I believe it is a party that any other party will like to form a coalition with, because it is a party that comes with already a strong support, almost suicidal supporters that are behind it. So this is a party that any serious presidential coalition or presidential candidate or party will want to form a coalition with. And I'll say I will agree with my counterpart, Honorable Savula. Yeah, you can say NASA is dead, but who is NASA? NASA is not a building. NASA is individuals. Even us, him, is individuals. Where are these individuals going? NASA can go away just the way CORD went away. Then there'll be another coalition of the same people. So you can dissolve NASA, but that does not mean you have dissolved the people who are forming the NASA. These people can come together under different arrangements, under different coalitions. The way CORD was, broke, even PNU was a coalition of several parties. NAC was a coalition of several parties. Right. It broke down. It formed another one. They are the same support base, the same leaders who maybe they'll have a new arrangement, because now we have also Jubilee that is also looking, is also interested in forming coalitions. Jubilee is now been left, is not as strong as it used to be. So it is also looking for coalitions. KANU is there. KANU has already, shown interest.
All right.
So I think there'll be a new formation. You can kill NASA, but you still revive another one.
All right. We are still trying to get in touch with the Makueni MP, Honorable Dan Manzo. which was supposed to join this conversation, who shall be joining us soon. I want us to talk about another reason why many pundits are saying NASA has crumbled, and that is issues to do with 2022 rather, the issue of who should be the presidential flag bearer, and that has given birth to the issue of the One Kenya Alliance. Honorable Savula, do you feel there was fairness in the manner in which the presidential ambitions of the various party leaders have been dealt with internally in court and now in NASA?
Actually,
was there fairness?
Actually, there was fairness.
Right.
We understood Raila was our senior during negotiation on how to arrive at the presidential candidate ahead of the 2017 general election.
Right.
We gave the opportunity to Raila Odinga as the senior-most partner in NASA to run for presidency. Then Kalonzo as his running mate. Musalia was still youthful. We agreed that Musalia should be the campaign manager, and in the event we win, we amend the constitution, then Musalia becomes the prime minister. But that never happened. But now going back to that issue, it is contained in that document with the register of political parties that Raila will run for one term. Let him respect that. That is part of the issue you are saying, mistrust. Because now he has not said he's either running or he's not running, but from the body language, Raila is on the ballot. From the body language, he's on the ballot. But the document says that Raila will run for one single term. And we should go by that. If you want to be a president, please obey the agreements. If you want to be a leader, obey the agreement, respect the agreement. And if you go by the agreement, we shall coalesce together. And if we don't go by this agreement, we shall split. And we'll be giving room for an enemy, like our common enemy is Ruto. We shall be giving room for Ruto to take advantage of our divisions to get this seat. So the only card that we have now to ensure that we stop Ruto presidency is a Musalia card. Because the agreement, if you put the agreement, Raila was supposed to run for one term. Musalia was just a manager.
Right.
Yeah, so it's the time for the manager now to become the presidential candidate in the event we form a coalition. And that is the only card that can stop Ruto presidency.
For the sake of this discussion, what kind of agreement was it? Was it an MOU?
It was not an MOU.
Does it hold water? What sort of agreement was it?
You know, the Political Parties Act says that any agreement that is deposited at the register of political party during negotiation at election time becomes law. So that is part of the law, the Political Parties Act. So when you deposit, say Raila will run for one term, let him respect that.
All right. Honorable Amisi, what do you say to that?
Yeah.
As one of those reasons that have been said to be part of why this coalition is scrambling.
Yeah, first of all, Honorable Savula is advantaged in the way that he was at the epicenter of NASA activities. So he must be privy to all this coalition agreement, whether verbal, written. But if it was written, at least he could have come with a copy and shown the innocent Kenyans who are just watching and wondering, how was this agreement written, what was contained? Because if you say this thing is written and is in the Constitution, you just come with a copy of the Constitution. And if you say this thing is the standing orders, you come with it. If you say it is in the Bible, just come with the verse and read that verse in the Bible. But if you just say, these things were written, and you cannot have a copy, then Kenyans will believe what is thrown there. Unless we have a copy, and these copies can be shared with the media, they can be published and say, hey, guys, look, this is the agreement, this is the signature of Raila, this is the signature. But we just...
personally,
as a member, yes,
yes,
I'm a member of ODM,
yes,
but I was not privileged to be in that circle that drafted this agreement. But for the sake of Kenya, I can get privilege, I can get it elsewhere if it does exist. But for the sake of Kenyans, at least Honorable Savula could have come to show, to convince. It's always good to convince people with facts. But having said that, I don't think it's a time, he has rightfully put, that we are facing a common enemy. And this common enemy, I can tell you, it is an enemy that has destroyed even the current president until he came for rescue from NASA. The current president has been rescued, literally, by NASA. Otherwise, this common enemy was crushing him even before his term ends. Now,
is that a fact? Is that a fact? We need to set things straight. Many people say that the handshake deal between Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta was to bring an end to those, weeks and months of demonstrations by yourselves over the last election. I
think we've had demonstration in this country for as long as I've lived and as long as I've seen the politics of this country. We've had demonstrations. All right. And the demonstrations will always be there. There's nothing that can cure demonstration, which is a right. Picketing is a right, a constitutional right. Even tomorrow you can order a demonstration against anything. So a handshake cannot stop a demonstration. And there is no facts to prove that demonstration by NASA was delaying Jubilee government in any way, because it was not a daily thing. It was, They were demonstrating for a reason, once in a while, maybe it was once in a year. So what were they doing together these other times? So it is clearly, you see Kenyans complain about 5 years of wasted, now 10 years. Why? Because there is this common enemy that was destroying the country silently. So now, this is the enemy that the NASA needs to deal with as a team. The way NASA was dealing with Jubilee is the way now, whether they call it another name, but they have to be together. I'm not privileged to be a principal, but if I sit down with them, I'll tell them that you can't leave us in the cold. I mean, some of us, you've seen our clips before, we almost died in demonstration. A tear gas was thrown inside my car, and if it was not an international media, the Reuters guy who saved, because they are trained to actually take their photographies and they save the person they can save. All right. So if it was not for that journalist, I would have died. So you see where we've come from, and we don't want to go back there. And we are just asking our principals that, yes, you are our seniors, but we are seeing trouble. Okay. We are seeing trouble. Time is not on our side. All right. And we don't want to, we are young in politics. We don't want to, to start our politics in opposition. We also want to start our politics in the government, the way they started in the government. All right, let's bring in Dan Manzo, the MP for Makueni. We finally have him joining us all the way from Mombasa. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Manzo, for joining us. Apologies for the technical hitch. We have already moved along with the discussion, but from where you sit, is NASA done from a Wiper perspective, and what are the main reasons why this coalition is crumbling?
Well, first and foremost, we expected, NASA to have won in 2013. Unfortunately, did not win. Then 2017, and Wiper supported the ODM candidate, the Honorable Raila Odinga, fully twice. So, to think that it can happen a third time, definitely you cannot do one thing the same way, same time, and expect different results. So, definitely, if we remain as we have been for the last 10 years, we will expect the same results as it has been happening. We will realize that the Jubilee vote is still intact, although it has only one challenge, who becomes the running mate of DP Ruto. So although they are under the name UDA, that vote could still be intact. And therefore, it will be very important to try a different style this time, even if it is within NASA or OKA, same team, but we must change the competitor.
All right, will it be the same team though? Because by ANC and Wiper leaving and Ford Kenya, we don't know what will happen there. ODM is on the other side, and the One Kenya Alliance is on the other side. We'll get to that, but will it still be the same team, really?
Well, I was taking the perspective that if we remained as we were in 2017, but unfortunately now we are pulled out. It is the ODM themselves who triggered the collapse of NASA, and these are the results. I mean, we have to look for other alliances.
All right. Talk to us very quickly about the issue of the political party funds. What is really happening with that, from what you know?
Well, unfortunately, after this was based on the presidential vote, and after the elections were nullified, and I was one of the lawyers there, we did not run the second time. Therefore, now they cannot release the money based on that. We are not really hoping about the money. It is about the principle. Is ODM willing to keep their promise? So, it cannot be the same again. So, for now, NASA is done. We have launched the notification of its death. The burial certificate has been processed by ODM themselves through their Secretary General Sifuna, and now we are waiting for the death certificate from the registrar of political parties.
All right, I want Honorable Misi to respond to that, but before that, you say that this is the end for NASA, but your party, Wiper Party, and the NC as well, have not deposited any documents to formalize the exit up to now. Is there maybe,
yes,
are you keeping the options open for going back to NASA?
No. We had already, had a NEC meeting which declared that we are pulling out, and those minutes are going to be filed. That's why I've said we have done 3 stages. 1, there was notification. 2, the death certificate was processed by ODM. And now the death certificate is coming when we present our papers to the registrar. The registrar will give us the death certificate of NASA. So technically, it will be dead very soon.
All right. Mheshimiwa Savula, your party has also not formalized the exits.
Actually, our documents are ready. We're just waiting to forward to the register of political parties. What we had discussed among the 3 principles was that we do individual political party NEC meetings, but ours is called a money council meeting. After that, we do individual parliamentary group meeting. Wiper, they should do theirs. ANC do theirs. Ford Kenya, they do theirs. Then we have one joint one as a Wiper, Ford Kenya, and ANC. In fact, we had planned for last Friday at Serena Hotel, but we have pushed it to either this week or next week, where all the principals will be available and will sign on a particular document. We will accompany the minutes and we will deliver to the register of political parties. So all everything is done. We're just waiting for the death certificate.
Mheshimiwa Misi, what is your take on Honorable Manzo's words that your party signed the death warrant, the death, the death of NASA?
Yeah, Manzo is my friend, my senior at Stare, and I hate to be in such a room where you are not meant to argue and not agree with your friends, colleagues. You see, when you say you have a death certificate of NASA, it's like you have a death certificate, and you don't have the cops. So you are just running around town looking for cops. Niko na certificate, death certificate, wapi maiti ya huyu mtu? Unatafuta. I have the death certificate, wapi maiti yake? Let's have the cops first. Let the person die. Then now look for the death certificate. But you've already hid your death certificate somewhere. Now you want to kill somebody because you've already drawn his death certificate. It is a force. And my colleagues, I respect Honorable Kalonzo, I respect Mudavadi, I talk to Mudavadi, myself. I respect these leaders because we've struggled together in NASA. When things were bad, they were together. I really respect them. But I tend to think either somebody is trying to make sure that NASA don't come together. Because if you ask them what is really the reason, if it is about the political parties' funds, how much does ODM owe you? What are the figures? Let's argue the facts. What is this money? How much does Wiper want? How much does ANC wants for the Kenya? They can't tell you. They just say there's an agreement that was formed. So where is this agreement? Can you come with a copy? I was thinking he's in a more settled place where he can get a copy very quickly than Savula.
All right.
I think let's have the facts other than just having, throw in words there, but we cannot really confirm. We cannot tell Kenyans these are the facts. Kenyans don't know. They just hear about money. In fact, very few people know about these political parties' funds. It is a new thing that came through the new constitution. It was never there in the first place. This is something that was, put in the new constitution to help the political parties.
All right. Honorable Manzo, what next now for as far as your party is concerned? What next? Is it the One Kenya Alliance?
Well, definitely none of the political parties, from ODM, UDA, or WIPA, can form government on their own. The future, just like the state of Israel, is coalitions, and the governments will be formed by coalitions. So we are now going to form a new coalition, the One Kenya Alliance, which we are formative, and we have also invited the ODM to be part of it. And to take you back a little bit into history, you remember the abuses we have received from the Secretary General of ODM, and every time ODM kept on declaring that NASA was dead, and they kept on pushing the other political parties away as they went to work with Jubilee. So I mean, they are to blame for this. There's a lot of selfishness. We have worked for ODM for 10 years. Why can't they work for somebody else, even for 5 years? So it cannot be business as usual.
All right. Honorable Savula, One Kenya Alliance. Many people say that NASA was not able to garner 50% plus one in 2017, and then called before then in 2013. What will be different this time round, and what is the future of coalitions in this country if a coalition like NASA can crumble like that?
You know very well, we failed to garner 50 plus 1 in the last general election because our campaign strategy was centered on those principles alone. Musalia from the Luya community, Kalonzo from the Kamba community, Raila from the Luo community, but also controlling the coastal region. We failed to focus in central Kenya. And central Kenya had a very strong candidate called Uhuru Kenyatta, so we could not penetrate in central Kenya. If we happen to have got at least only 20% of the votes from Mount Kenya, NASA could have formed the government after the 2017 general election. But now we have changed our strategy. Our focus now is on central Kenya, because central Kenya, as we speak now, they don't have a strong presidential candidate. That's why you see my party leader, Musalia Mudavadi, and I, we've been moving in central Kenya. We've been hosted in Nakuru, which is part of the Mount Kenya fraternity by Governor Linjiru. We've been hosted in Nyeri by Governor Mutai. And last week, we've been hosted in Nyandarua by Nyandarua Governor. So we're consolidating the central region. The central region has been our worst mistake because we've not been concentrating there to get those votes. Right. Once you get the central vote, whoever gets the central vote, plus his community, then plus other pockets from other parts of the country will be the president. Central is open now. That's why you see even Mrs. leader, Raila, was there today. Is it today or yesterday? Just quoting Central. But as we speak now, the competition in Central is between Musalia Mudavadi and Ruto. We want to pull Ruto out of Central so that we can emerge stronger and make a Musalia president.
All right. So Central Kenya emerging as the battleground ahead of 2022. Honorable Amisi, what chance does ODM stand? What chance does One Kenya Alliance stand if they are not together?
Yeah, I think it is common knowledge. First, before I even go to your question, you ask the OCA, the WIPA, ANC, Ford Kenya, KANU, in a formation called OCA. Then you ask them. Kalonzo says that Raila promised me. Mudavadi says the same. Raila promised me. So now what are they going to promise each other? You can't have two presidents. Yeah, Wiper cannot stand there as a presidential candidate. As ANC cannot stand there as a presidential candidate. You have to have one going first. So either way, you can't go all of you to be presidents. One must live for the other. So I think we also need to stop wasting time, because we are wasting time among our support base, and that time we should be wasting to look for the areas that we never garnered. Like today, I have had an opportunity to be in Muranga. I have never been in Muranga. The area was cordoned off. Like we could not cross River Chania, or is it called River Chania? For the 5 years, we've never stepped in Central. You know, we knew this is a political, is a dangerous terrain. You can't go there. Even if you go there, there are no votes. But today I've been in Muranga, happily interacting with border young people, business people, and I looked at myself and said, what a wasted chance. Even some of us, the young people, NASA could have sent us to Central. You know, let's go there. Let's stop wasting time on money, sharing of money. The principals go to Central, and the Kikuyus will give them votes. I mean, the people from Central have no problem whatsoever with any leader. It is just that they have not seen you. When you see them celebrating one leader, you think this guy has magic. No, he doesn't have any magic. Because that is the person they see when they wake up in the evening, they see when they sleep. So let them go, let them leave their stronghold. That is already secured. Let them go to Central, morning to evening. Let these people camp there, and they'll get votes. Okay. If you don't ask me out like a girlfriend, how do you expect me to be your girlfriend? You have to ask me continuously. All right. Until I agree, I accept. Honorable Mwanzo, from yes, a Wiper perspective, the Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu said a few weeks ago that there is no way to win if the two sides in NASA are not united. Where do you see the route to 50% plus one?
Well, first and foremost, as Wiper, we are not expecting any money from ODM, and it is not even available. So the fight is not really about sharing of some money belonging to ODM or belonging to NASA, but the principles. You know how if there was, NASA still remained intact, and there was a little bit of change, you know of the goalkeeper, trust me, we'll win this game. But now they want us to do things the same way, same style. It can't work.
Do you see any other winning formula?
Well, for example, if within if now we migrate from NASA as we have done, we form one Kenya alliance, and ODM still joins us at some point, they can still agree on a candidate who is sellable in Central Province or who is acceptable in the whole country, whereby every Kenyan feels free to be led by that particular individual. Certainly now, it has proved us differently with ODM. So for now, we need to look at it differently, and probably some people will have to forsake their ambitions for the sake of the country.
All right. I have to ask you this, gentlemen, before we wind up this conversation. Let me start with you, Honorable Savula. In terms of, as you go across the country looking for votes, Kenyans will be asking what plans you have for them. And as NASA, however loosely that term can be used as of now, your political opponent has been the Deputy President, William Ruto, who has declared his presidential ambitions for the last 3 years. And in the last 2 days, he has accused all the leaders in One Kenya Alliance and ODM and NASA of not having any form of agenda whatsoever for Kenyans apart from defeating him. What do you say to that?
First of all, I'll just like to congratulate Manzo Actually, we are talking from the same, we are on the same page with Manzo.
Those are the same coalition.
Because we are focused in Central Kenya. And he has said very well that the most sellable candidate within the One Kenya Alliance in Central and the rest of the country is what we should focus on. And here, if we do a small analysis between those presidential candidates who have ambitions within the collapsed NASA, starting with Raila versus Ruto. If you do Raila versus Ruto analysis in Central, Ruto will beat Raila in Central. If we do a Musalia versus Ruto in Central, Musalia will beat Ruto in Central. Because even Musalia is nicknamed in Central these days Macharia.
Is that a scientific study?
Yeah, that's a scientific study you've done. He's nicknamed in Central Macharia.
Go on.
Macharia. You see, some candidates, to sell some candidates in Central is so difficult. It's like selling pork meat in Mecca, in the Muslim community. You can't. Says, our strategy in ANC is to revive the economy. We have a rallying point that Amani, and our slogan is ANC, Uchumi Bora. ANC, Uchumi. We have a rallying call that we want to revive the economy. Musalia has credentials to revive the country's economy post-COVID. Musalia has the credentials to restructure the country's international debt so that we can run the government without overtaxing or overburdening Kenyans. Already in ANC, we have sponsored a bill in Parliament to create what we call Debt Management Authority.
All right.
An authority that will regulate borrowing internationally and domestically. This Debt Management Authority will actually cushion Kenyans from the extra burden of taxes. We have a policy. So we have a strategy.
You have a rallying point.
We have a rallying point. But Ruto has no rallying point. Hasola. He has been in the government for the last 10 years.
Okay.
As a deputy president. The only thing he can deliver to Kenyans is a wheelbarrow.
Tell me this.
Surely.
All right. Tell me this before I go to Amisi for the same. As you say, you have a rallying point, fair point. But as you go to Central Kenya for this battleground vote, have you locked down the Western Kenya vote? Many people say it is also up for grabs.
As we speak today, in Western Kenya, we have only one presidential candidate. One. That is Musalia Mudavadi, who has shown interest in the top seat. The rest who have shown interest in the top seat have been killed by scandals. Our brother Mombasa Road, a small scandal has just finished him. A small scandal involving a lady has finished him completely. A very small scandal has finished him. If you cannot manage a small scandal like that involving a lady, how will you manage a presidential?
Okay, but
bigger things.
Raila Odinga still has access to
No.
Kenya.
Let me give an example. Raila, ODM had actually...
He beat Musalia Mudavadi in 2013.
ODM had actually, in 2013 when I was elected as a first-time MP, we were only 4 UDF MPs in Kakamega County. I'm just giving an example.
Right.
In 2017, and ODM had 7. In 2017, ANC in Kakamega County, we are 7 MPs. And ODM has reduced from 7 to 2 MPs, Shinyalu and Mumias West. And Mumias West is by the virtue that parts of Mumias West, 2 or 3 wards, the residents are from the Luo community. But they are still in Western Province.
Right.
The Matungu by-election was a clear indicator that ODM is not in Western. The difference of vote was above 4,500. The Kabuchai by-election in Bungoma it was an indicator that ODM popularity is waning in Western. It's going down. So the major factor in Luhyaland is a Mudavadi factor. The major card in Western is a Mudavadi card. And the major party in Western is a Mudavadi party, ANC. And we are going to take this presidency.
Honorable Kaleb, do you agree? And also tell me, what is your response to the jabs by the deputy president that all presidential candidates do not have any agenda apart from to defeat him?
Yeah, let me start with what Savula has raised, that some people are not sellable anywhere. By people calling you, you are nice. You know, you'll have a lady saying, this guy is a nice person, but I cannot date him. and end up dating a bad boy and marrying him. So by being nice and being called nice names does not mean these people will eventually give you votes. The deputy president is the most rudderless, a person who has no clue. I respect him as a deputy president. I respect him as a leader who has struggled from a low class. You know, some of us have no political background, but you've come, the same journey has come.
All right.
I respect him for that. It takes, you know, a person with strength and determination to reach where he is. That one we give it to him. But when it comes to matters of national importance, like being a president of Kenya, he does not fit in that circle. Why? Because deputy president has no idea on how to bring people together.
All right. You know, because he's not here,
Yes.
or his representative,
Yeah.
maybe you can focus on what he has accused you
Exactly.
of. That is not having an agenda. Do you have an agenda, a rallying point?
I think ODM has had an agenda when they came together with CORD. Our agenda is like an open book. People know what ODM stands for: reforms, constitutional reforms, and national ethos, strengthening our unity, you know, bringing all the tribes of this nation together, and the economic development, what Mheshimiwa Raila has been talking about, how to grow the rural economy. You know, development must start from mashinani. These are the bastion of our party, what our party stands for, what we inches on as a party. I think it has been in the limelight. ODM is not formed yesterday. It has been there. Kenyans have been sold ODM manifestos for the longest time possible, and I think it's the limelight. Contrary to what others have, as much as you say they are not here to defend themselves, most of the time they talk on us when we are not there to defend ourselves. So let us also tell Kenyans the truth, that let us look at leaders who have something. When I stood for MP, I declare manifesto what I want to do for my people. Really, you cannot stand to be a presidential candidate with nothing to offer the country. It has never happened. At least somebody must fight for something. You must fight, either is you are fighting corruption, you are fighting for free education, you are fighting for youth empowerment, you are fighting for economic development. You must fight for something for you to be in State House. You can't just, because you have money, you can move around and you think you'll be a president. No. Kenyans, yes, they'll cheer you, but eventually they need a leader who stands for something, a leader who has a record of having fought for something, a leader who stands on some principles, a leader who can stand straight. And the Kenyans believe and they rally people towards that cause that is fighting for.
All right, we need to wind up. Honorable Manzo, very quickly, what does WIPA stand for in response to that accusation that One Kenya Alliance does not have an agenda?
Yes, we've been accused. First of all, we've also been accused that we are not a national party. And he says that the only national party now is UDA. I don't think that's the right thing. You know, WIPA, ODM, ANC, Ford Kenya, they are all national parties. And as I said earlier, none of these single parties with their manifestos will form government, the future coalitions. Even the UDA will have to look for coalitions. So we have one of the things, one of our strong points as WIPA is unity of purpose. You know, a peaceful country is easier to develop than a fighting country. And our leadership offers, you know, peaceful coexistence of Kenyans and able to allow every Kenyan to feel free to work from any part of the country.
Yes.
But if you see the attitude being posted by UDA as a party, and the reason when they visited Machakos, they said the Kamba vote is not consequential. So why are they coming to Kambani with abuses? Why, if our vote is not useful at all, why are they looking for it? So we also want to visit the rest of the country. We invite them, but when you visit to any part of the country, you must respect the leadership there. You must respect the people. You cannot go to abuse people at their own background in the name of, you know, looking for votes. So we are looking for a leader who can unite Kenyans, and I really want to congratulate President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga and the rest of the court and NASA team of what they did with the handshake. That has brought peace in the country and the development you can see in the last 4 years or so. So we also want a leader who in the future who can work with the other leaders. But clearly with the UDA, they only think Kenya belongs to Central and Rift Valley alone. All Kenyans should feel they are members of Kenya and they can work anywhere in Kenya and can move freely.
Okay.
And that attitude of it can only be with them is a wrong attitude.
All right. As Kenyans watch this and as we talk about the future of NASA and One Kenya Alliance, Honorable Manzo, give me your parting shot tonight.
Yes. Well, as I've said, the country needs to be brought together. We need leaders who are acceptable across board. And peace is very important for the country's prosperity, for the economy, for everybody's well-being. And I think Kenyans are looking for a strong, peaceful leader, which they will find in His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka. And even together with the rest of the One Kenya Alliance, all those leaders are peaceful leaders and want peace for the country. So Kenyans must be very careful in future that our country remains together and we are not put into regions or that only one community can serve the rest communities.
All right.
Every Kenyan should feel equal.
Thank you. Honorable Savula, your final thoughts.
My final point is that Kenyans are actually suffering their heavy burdens of taxes. The economy is not performing well. We need a leader who can actually spur economic development in this country and manage properly the economy. And we also need a peaceful election and the leader who can also create a cohesive country. So those two factors, the cohesiveness of a country and revamping the economy, the only subject to this is Musalia Mudavadi, the only guy who can manage that.
All right, thank you. Honorable Miss, final remarks.
Yeah, mine is just to, especially to those leaders who walk around. We have agreed here, as much as we have sibling rivalries, we are together. Our common enemy are these people who go around dividing Kenyans in classes, that you are looking for votes by dividing people. If you look for votes, if you do campaign, an election campaign by dividing people, how will you ever govern them when you get elected? It will be absolutely not easy to govern an already divided nation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to all three of you for joining us here on Newsline tonight. Caleb Amisi, Saboti, Member of Parliament, Lugari, Member of Parliament, Ayub Savula, and Makueni, Legislator Dan Manzo. Many thanks, gentlemen, for your time on Newsline tonight. Before we leave you, let's now bring you a sneak peek of what to expect in tomorrow's edition of The Standard. And it is what we've been talking about tonight. Revealed how NASA will share millions. The Standard team reporting that the four parties will be smiling all the way to the bank. Four estranged NASA partners to share 153 million out of the 489 million from the political parties fund after ODM had a change of heart, even as Raila yesterday stormed the president's backyard with an eye firmly fixed on 2022. Check out that story in detail in pages 4 and 5. In studio with me, I had ANC deputy party leader says they are seeing this in the media. They have not seen things, any solid things according to that revenue sharing formula. We shall continue to keep an eye on this for you. Be sure to also check out on how Team Kenya is doing in the Tokyo Olympic Games, still in the Standard. Be sure to grab your copy tomorrow. That's why we leave it on Newsline tonight. Thank you for watching the program. We do appreciate the privilege of your time tonight. For all of us here, I am Ben Kitili. Good night from Nairobi.